Take two, you guys. I really fumbled the bag here.
Let's do it again.
We're going to do it again. I just shot and my receiver was dead for the microphones. Everyone, welcome back. This is Van Grant Realtor with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Georgia Properties in Clarksville, Georgia. Joined again by the one and only, one of my favorites, Mr. Doug Mooney from Prosperity. You've seen him many times before. Here he is again. You may be wondering, who the heck am I? Who the heck is this guy that you've seen so many times? You may have heard us talk about loan things, competitive edge, different programs, and things to do for our clients. This is going to be for whether you're getting into the market and you want to look and find around the right person to vibe with. This is a get to know you, see if we can work well for you. So I'm going to run through a Q&A style of some questions for you, and we'll go that way. So, questions for Doug. Alrighty. Mr. Doug, who are you and what company are you with?
So again, it's Doug Mooney. Pleasure to be here. Always a pleasure to shoot with you. I'm with Prosperity Home Mortgage. We are somewhat of a regional company here, although we have offices across the entire U.S. We're owned by Berkshire Hathaway, so we're very much a sister company to Berkshire Hathaway Home Services.
That's right. My favorites. When did you get into lending and why?
So I've had a couple of careers. I've had 3 careers in separate different areas, one in computer science. The second one, I was a partner in a business where we had technologies in the airline industry. So we were in every airport stretched across the United States and Canada. Traveled a lot, was away from my family a lot, and had the opportunity to sell that piece. And that was in 2001. And just having conversations with my wife, you'll find working with Van and I that, family's number one. Family comes first, as we would expect your family would come first. So I think my motto for the last couple of 23, 24 years is I want to be at home, I want to be in the community, and I want to help people.
Yeah.
And so that's what we've done, and that's why we're here, is to see what we can do to help you.
And working with Doug just since last January, I'll attest to that. It's been many great transactions and a lot of great people that we've been able to sit down and work with. What areas do you service most? So
I can lend in the entire state of Georgia.
Okay.
But our primary focus is here in Northeast Georgia.
Yeah.
This is our community, and our community is where we want to be and where we want to serve.
Yeah, most definitely. Heavy in the Habersham and the Gainesville area, Hall County. What sets your company apart, and what are your most go-to practices or your most popular loan products? What does that look like for you guys?
So, we, like every other company, we offer conventional loans, FHA loans, USDA, VA. We have all of those programs.
Yeah.
But I think what it comes down to is educating our buyers, looking at their credit scores, what can we do to improve that, looking at their debt-to-income ratio, looking at their budget. So I don't know that I've really got a go-to loan as much as
an individual go-to plan.
Yeah, that's right. That individual plan is what helps drive us to the actual program that we're going to use. So a lot of times that comes down to how much of a down payment do you have? Do you need that down payment? Does that down payment take away all the reserves in your account and you're left with no money?
Yeah.
That's a big concern of mine. So in those instances, those are the things that we want to talk to. Those are the things we want to drill down and figure out what's important to you as the consumer, as the buyer, and then be able to offer 2 or 3 solutions that meet all of those criteria.
Yeah.
So
most definitely. That's the correct answer, and kind of why I mentioned before. That's why I asked that. So sitting down with people, I often tell them, like the other day, it's here's all your loan products up here. Here's all the things that qualify you. Here's your rates. And at the end of that table is whatever product you can get. And so you kind of just mix and match and choose what works for you. And that's the best way to go about it. So sitting down with us is more of a game plan meeting. Usually it's never really sign this, sign that, and let's get you in a house tomorrow. It's always breaking down from the beginning. It's an extensive process of nothing but preparing.
So I think what Van and I really want to know from you is what are your goals?
Yeah.
Who are you as a person, and what do your finances look like?
Yeah.
I think where a lot of people fall short is they're just scared to take that step and ask.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
It's
and
completely free to sit down and ask, and literally ask me anything you could imagine. There's a lot of value in this. I've been heavy on telling people real estate is everything. It's You're born in a piece of real estate. You live in a piece of real estate.
Yeah.
You eat a product of real estate from some manufactured goods somewhere. So it's air rights, ground rights, water rights. Everything you could imagine is real estate, and it's something to love and know how you can get your hands on your own. So
So,
that's
in
awesome.
saying all that, though, personal wealth should be everything to you.
Yeah.
Whether you can buy today, or it's 3 months, or 6 months, or a year from now, part of that strategy, and this is what I teach my own kids, is part of that strategy is how can you get other avenues of income,
Yeah.
yet at the same time grow that wealth, or in the homes that you purchase, growing that equity and using that equity to your benefit.
Yeah, most definitely.
So
It's important, and preparing to fail. Failure to prepare is preparing to fail. I think that applies. It's been a saying for a long time, and I think it still applies today, especially with where everything is going. So here's the golden question for you. Everybody wants to know. There's no right or wrong answer. I don't know. We can't predict the future, but where do you see the market going in Q4 of 2024 and beginning of 2025?
So I'll say this. Rates are beginning to drop. When we look at the general economies and where it's going, I don't think anyone can predict that, especially in the time of year that we're in and going into an election.
Yeah.
So get the elephant out of the room there.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that we bought our first home in 1988. And we have always done better in real estate than we've ever done in the market.
Yeah.
So to me, it doesn't really matter where the rate is. Yes, it's important, and yes, it's a consideration, but we're down in the sixes now for the most part. In some cases, down in the fives, whether you're paying points or not. But in 22 or 3 years of lending, we're below average on rate. You know, so many of our first-time buyers, that's all they heard was 2%, 3%, 4%. And I don't know that we'll ever get back to that day.
Yeah.
But in keeping credit right, building credit, purchasing now, you get that opportunity to refinance.
Yep. And maintaining what you need to have and stay there so you can qualify to refinance at the best rates. And
so to go back to Van's original question is, what do we see coming? We are seeing that rates are going to drop more.
yeah.
We're going into probably third quarter, fourth quarter of 2025. We will probably be in the fives. At least we're hopeful to be in the fives.
Yeah, most definitely. And like you said, depending on what product you're going with, I personally tried to put in an offer recently on a home, and we were looking at like 5.625.
Yeah.
Which to me is something I'll sign right now. Sign the contract, big boy. So. But even being a realtor, I'm a young person. I've only been in this a year and 9 months. I've not filled out my 2 years yet. And so speaking to all of you young guys too, if you're self-employed or if you're 1099, separate videos we can make on what to do for your income, making sure that we show everything so you have the purchase power that you need to have when going into shopping, making sure we don't write off everything we make. And so
I think coming from your perspective as the consumer, the buyer, is if you're not ready now, how can you help me get there?
Yeah.
And how quickly can we get there?
Yeah.
And we've been, between Van and I, we've been successful at that. And I put a lot of pride into that there's a lot of people that we've helped get there.
I completely attest to that. And I mean, I'm honored to know that there's people my age, people I graduated with, people that are younger than me that I'm helping put them in a home, whether they have a baby on the way or if they're getting ready to have new jobs and expand on their income, or just they're just a happy couple and they've worked and earned this new home. So it's really incredible. And I mean, what most people don't realize is especially at my age, if you've been working hard for 2 years at the same place, you got decent credit, I guarantee you're a lot closer to a home than you think you might be.
I would agree,
and
100%.
And so I think that just sitting down and making a plan There's no rush. It's what you want to make it. The process is what you want to make it. And so I think real estate is a perfect example and a story that individuals can take for themselves. And this commitment to making real estate, if you're a first time buyer, or buying your second home, third home, whatever, if you're expanding on it, when you get into real estate, you, without a shadow of a doubt, are going to learn how to make other decisions that will fast track your life exponentially. I think that when you have your own space and home ownership and you realize, wow, I can get out of my parents, I can get out of whatever situation I'm in, I can move my family to a bigger home, I can help me and my wife or me and my husband, we can settle down and downsize. Whatever that is, real estate's your answer to really keeping that standard in life that you should hold high for yourself.
When you completely understand what your budget is and how your income works, and equally important, how do we increase your credit and your scores? That gives you the buying power across the board.
It does.
Not just in real estate, but in everything that you do, whether it's buying a car, challenge credit, you could be up into 8, 9, 10%.
Yeah.
Having great credit, you're down into 2s or 3s. That's buying power. And it's the same in real estate.
And it's exponentially different. I mean, you're talking about over time, and when it comes to financing, rates are everything. The difference in that 2 and 3% on a car, or 4% on a car, and the difference in your 12% on some cars right now. I mean, all of that matters. When I tell you, you look back at the end of the year on paying for something, and it's a difference of $1,000, $2,000 for some people on a simple credit number. So you got to work on it. It's vital. It's important. It's the hack, and something that my generation, I hope to keep on educating us on, and we can get better at it, because it's going to be our way to combat and level out the market and be strong borrowers, be people that we know everybody from our previous generations feel comfortable passing everything down to us. And I think the younger generation has a lot to provide, and a lot of wealth, a lot of knowledge. I think, it's just a matter of sitting down and not being afraid to coming out of all these hard times. Sure, if we've lived through a lot of hard things, we can expand on it and take advantage of it. We don't have to.
Well, I would say that
stick behind
the majority of our first-time home buyers, once they get over that fear of calling us, once we have that meeting, they better understand what we need to do.
Yeah, and at our meetings, we'll load them up with information, good, bad, ugly, a plan of action, the whole nine. And all we want them to do is leave and make sure they have plenty of questions to come back and ask us about and call us with. And there is never a time where they don't leave the meeting and they're not ready to see what they can do. I'm not necessarily saying somebody's ready to sign everything and move into a house the next day, but we're never not getting up from the table, and those people are excited to see what they can get out there and go do.
And so many of us, though, we look at maybe our failures of the past or a life event of the past that messed us up. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Let's look at it. Let's figure it out. It can be fixed.
It can be fixed.
We just need that plan.
And you'd be surprised at who we will call and fight on your behalf for. I mean, we really look to clear your name of anything that you need to be cleared of. We like to try and help out in any ways we can. Call the right people. Settle any debts. We just make a plan of action. It's not just getting ready to go house hunting. It's getting ready to live a completely new lifestyle and take a next chapter in life that is it's pretty mind-blowing, and it's different for everyone. It's unknown for everyone. And if you're young buying a home right now and you're spending $200,000, $250,000, $150,000, just know that's a lot of money, and your parents and your family should be proud of you. There's a good chance that they are in a lot nicer home for a lot less that they purchased it at. I mean, it's and your parents and a lot of your family also might, warn you or scare you off from buying things, but don't let your family hold you back. I know a lot of them want to look out for the best for you, but inevitably they may have been 18, 19, getting ready to get married and be moved out already. You can still do the same things. I think that's a little young. We can work on our college experiences and getting out there, but in your young 20s, being a young couple, I know we're kind of getting used to living at mom and dad's for a little too long, or we're used to renting and stuff like that, but we definitely have every bit of capability and power that's been from people before us to go buy a home. And so you're no different. You're just as worthy. You're just as good to take the time and come sit down with us. I mean, you'd really be surprised at what you can do. important thing is just being here for the yeses and the nos, being able to tell you what you don't need to do. It's just as important. So, yeah, I think that's all we got for you. And this was a little longer than anticipated, but exactly what I needed.
It's just so important to make that phone call.
It is.
Don't be fearful of it. Don't be embarrassed by it. Don't let your pride get in the way.
Yeah.
But come ask. Let's educate. And at the end of the day, I think everybody wins.
I think I know everybody wins. We're making them win. We're watching them win. We're helping them win. Their personal victories are huge for us, and it's something that we pride ourselves on. So stay tuned, and that's all I got for you. We'll see you next time.
Let's do it again.
Yep. Peace.